Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm swatching and reviewing this watercolor set that as you see I've had for a while. It's a Mungyo from South Korea. For those who don't know me, I'm Elisabetta, an Italian watercolor artist with a passion for art supplies. It's 48 pans that I have not used as much as I could. I've had it for quite a long time, but I have only used it sometimes. Let's find it together how. Stay with me and discover this watercolor set from South Korea. This set is in a beautiful tin box. It's a standard tin box for 48 pans, as many others that I have swatched and reviewed. And you can probably take this out, but I never do actually, to have some extra mixing space. You have two mixing spaces with many wells, 4 here and 8 here. So it's quite a convenient, sturdy box. As you know, this paint has been quite popular for a while, and I was really curious to try it. So I bought it, and it's different from the other watercolor set I have. Let's swatch them together to verify what's so different from my other watercolor sets or watercolor paints. The first thing that we notice when you open it is that the paints are clearly extruded, they are not poured, but they are a bit grainy, they are rough, very grainy. So what I like to do before I use them, I spray them like this, so they re-wet more easily. Let's start from the first colors. You see they have some metallic, they have what they call copper. They're not very easy to re-wet. Copper, it's lovely and transparent. Let's add some more. It's a lovely color, and this is made with PW20, which is mica. I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, I'm not sure. And then you have always based on this PY20, you have gold, and gold is made with the PY83, which is a yellow, plus a touch of blue, PB29, and this mica or mica white. Then silver. They're quite difficult to re-wet. They don't, it's difficult to get a lot of paint on your brush. They're quite hard, especially this metallic. And this uses PBK9, which you will see is there black, and it is Ivory Black, animal based. Then you have pure PY20, so the pearl white, and this is a little more opaque, like most whites, and it is a pearlescent white. So if you add this white to any color, you can have a pearlescent effect. Then we go to white, which is an opaque white, PW6, You see how opaque it is, and you can mix it to get some pastel colors with any color. I'm not a real fan of white, but in Asian watercolor you find often a white. Then you have a color that you only find in Asian sets, which is jaune brillant, and it is a skin tone basically. This is a bit opaque. It is made with white, PO13, which is an orange, quite a fugitive one, and PY42, which is yellow ochre. This PO13 that you find here, you will find in many other colors. There are very few single pigments, and they use some fugitive, cheaper pigments. You will see this orange 13, PO13. We will find it in a lot of colors. Second row, Naples Yellow. Naples Yellow, they have a Naples Yellow that it's a light version of yellow ochres. It's made with a yellow, PY6, and yellow ochre, PY42. So it's very different from any other Naples Yellow that I have tried. Then we have yellow ochre, and this is made with the PY42, a yellow, and yellow ochre. It's a yellow ochre, PY42, and PY14. PY14 is a cheap fugitive yellow that they use everywhere. This one, PY14, just like the orange PO13, we will find it everywhere. And it is a lovely color. I must say, it's a very nice yellow ochre. It's more transparent than usual yellow ochre, but it's going to be fugitive, and that's a pity unless you only use it in sketchbooks. Then we have raw umber. Raw umber can vary a lot from brand to brand, and usually it's a dull, colder brown, but not in this case. This is more like a raw sienna, I would say, because it is based on PY42, which is typical for raw sienna, is yellow ochre. PR101, which is red iron oxide, a lovely pigment, very stable. And Prussian Blue, surprisingly, PB27, to darken it and mute it. Then we have French Grey. This is also a lovely color, but it's not a raw umber. Another problem with Mungyo is that they have lovely colors, but they give the wrong names, which is a bit confusing for me. Then French Grey, which is white and black with a touch of ultramarine. So it's a light bluish gray. It's not a color that I would buy open stock, but it's a nice color. I think that you can use it on occasion for instance, to darken your whites for white flowers or white bone china. Then we go to indigo. Indigo is also a very different formula from usual. This is Prussian Blue, PB27, and Ivory Black. Usually indigo is in other brands is with Tallow Blue, PB15, and black, but the result is a nice dark blue. It's nice, just little different the formula, but the result is very nice. So far colors are not ugly. And then Ivory Black, the PB9, animal based, so this can be a no if you're vegan. And here it is. It's a dark, very dark velvety black, but let's see how it it's also granulating. Let's see how it dries. Now we go to the third row. Now we have very different colors from any other color I have ever seen in my other watercolor sets. It's this persistent light blue, and it's Tallow Blue, green shade, PB 15.3, and Tallow Green. So it's called persistent light blue, but it's a sort of turquoise. I don't think it's ugly. It's a bit artificial, but it's nice. Then we go to the greens. The greens are almost all of them, I would say, multi-pigment. This is yellow green. Once again, they use this PY14 with Tallow Green PG7. This PY14 is a bit a disgrace because it's very fugitive. So if you think that you want to hang or sell your work, you should stay away from this. But the color is very vibrant. Sap Green. Sap Green has exactly the same ingredients, but in a different ratio, in a different formula. And it's a nice, it's a lovely Sap Green, very, very vibrant. If I may say a positive thing about this Mungyo is that they are really vibrant. Cadmium Green Light. This is Tallow Green with some Hansa Yellow. So let's see, it's a Tallow Green, and it's a color that I like to use, for instance, as a base to mute it with some reds, or in summer sea, but I don't use it. I use it very, very rarely, pure as it is. Hooker's Green has a very different formula from other Hooker's Green. This is with 3 pigments. They are PG7, so Tallow Green, and the infamous PY14, the Fugitive Yellow, and Tallow Blue. The result is not what I would expect from a Hooker's Green. It's a very vibrant sort of tree green, I would say. But it's not what I would call a Hooker's Green in other brands. Then you have Viridian, and Viridian also is a bit of a mistake because it's Tallow Green, it's PG7. Viridian has its own pigment, which is PG18, and this is not Viridian. They're not very different. They look very much the same, but they are 2 different pigments. So they call Viridian, but it's not a Viridian. But you can use it as a Viridian, as a mixing base. And by the way, it's a single pigment. Let's go to the 4th row, the blues. The first one is also surprisingly a wrong pigment because it says cerulean, but it is PB 15.3, which is Tallow Green, Tallow Blue green shade. Cerulean is PB 35. It has its own pigment, and this is not a cerulean. You see, it's very clearly a Tallow Blue. It's a lovely blue, but it's not a cerulean. But for sky, that would be very nice if you are prepared to use a very bright color for sky. Then we go to Prussian Blue, and this is the correct pigment. It's PB 27, like it is in any brand. Prussian Blue is a color that I like for winter sky here. It's granulating, this one, which is unusual because usually Prussian Blue is not so granulating. But you see, it has a nice value variation, Prussian Blue, from dark to light. Then one more surprise, Cobalt Blue. Cobalt Blue is should be PB28, but now I have double checked. They use PB29, which is by all means ultramarine. So they call it cobalt, but the PB29 is absolutely ultramarine. It's very granulating, which is nice, but it's not cobalt. Cobalt is a different color. This is ultramarine. Then we have ultramarine, and for ultramarine they don't use PB29 as they should, but they use a mix of PB29 with Prussian Blue, PB27. Let's see what it gives. It gives a nice muted soft blue, which once again is lovely, but it's not ultramarine. It's nice, but different from what it should be. You see that this cobalt blue has a red undertone because it is ultramarine. And here you lose this red undertone. Then we go to purple. Purple is a red, PR8, which is, I think, naphthol red. They use a lot of naphthol reds that are also cheap fugitive pigments. And PV23, which is dioxazine violet, a very nice pigment. So should be a bit on the mauve violet side. Yes, it's a reddish purple, and it's a nice one. I'm not very much a violet person, but for florals, for instance, could be nice. And then we go to permanent violet, which is a single pigment, a dioxazine violet. This is a pigment that varies very little from brand to brand, and it's usually very, very nice. It's a dark, velvety purple, and it is in this case as well. Look at how dark and velvety it is. I hope we can see the pigment number, the pigment name once it's dry. Let's go to the fifth rod, the muted greens. Okay, now we have a row of muted greens that are really, really nice, and they are what I call convenience greens because they are already pre-mixed and you don't need to mix them on your own. So you can use them straight from the pan. This is made with the yellow ochre, the infamous PY14, Prussian Blue, and the PR101, which is English red, is red iron oxide. I've made a whole video about PR101. I will link it in the notes. And this is greenish yellow. You see, it's a very nice muted yellow. Very different from these more pure yellows. Then we have olive green. Olive green is also made with Prussian Blue plus the PY14 and Tallow Blue green shade, PB15-3. It's a darker version of this muted green. It's a muted olive green, granulating. I think it's very nice. Let's go to olive brown. They have an incredible rich offer of this muted green. You don't find them so often in watercolor sets. Usually you have to mix them yourself. And this is made with the PR101, red iron oxide, Prussian Blue, and PY14, the Fugitive Yellow. Let's go to green gray, which is the last of these muted lovely greens. I must say that they are very, very nice. And it's the darkest of these. It's made with the PR101, it's a mistake, Prussian Blue, red iron oxide, and yellow. So it's always the same three colors in different ratio. It's the same formula of this previous one. Then we go to a colder green. It's a strange order because this colder green could be together with this green and not after the blue, but I have kept the same order as I received them. Malakita Green, it's number 5. You see, it's sort of phthalo, actually. It's phthalo green, phthalo blue, green shade, and yellow. So I wonder why it's here. It should be here, but it's a phthalo. It's a darker phthalo green with a touch of phthalo blue and yellow. And then we have deep phthalo green, which is phthalo blue with yellow. So it's something that you could really mix yourself without using this Fugitive Yellow. And it is a dark phthalo green actually. And let's wait until it dries to see how transparent it is or opaque. Let's go to the 6th row where I start with the browns. Okay, the first brown is Van Dyke, and it's not a true Van Dyke. It's made with always it's the same pigments. It's PR101, red iron oxide, PY14, the Fugitive Yellow, and PBK9, which is Ivory Black. But the result is a nice yellowish brown. Van Dyke is usually duller. It's more a burnt umber, but it is a nice color. It's also slightly granulating. Then we have burnt umber. Burnt umber has a very strange formulation. It's it reminds me more of a burnt sienna. Look at this. It's PR101, PY14, PR48-4, and black. So it's a red, an earth, a yellow, and a black. And the result is, for me, this is a burnt sienna. Let's go to brown red. Brown red is like a red ochre, more or less. There are many colors that are reddish browns. We will see many. It's like the muted green. This is brown red. It's like a red ochre, and it's this red 48, the Fugitive Orange PO13, and black. And it's also nice dark ochre. I like it very much as a color. And then light red. Light red is also called English reds in other palettes, and is made with PR101, which is correct for English red, but they add, can't resist, they add this infamous yellow, and then this touch of red 48-4. They always use the same pigments. And it's like a nice warm English red, but not so opaque like traditional English red. Then we have raw sienna. And raw sienna for me should be more like almost a primary yellow, but now this is done with PR101, so red iron oxide, orange, PO13, and the yellow. And it's another English red, actually. It's not a raw sienna, more opaque. And I don't see why they put two English reds. It's not a raw sienna, not at all. And then they have what they call burnt sienna, and it's single pigment, PR101. Many brands choose to make burnt sienna with this pigment instead of PBR7. And it's not particularly glowing. It's a bit dull. Not crazy about this. Let's go to the yellow. Okay, the first yellow is the most used in my set, and it's Hansa Yellow. This is a real, true, stable, light, fast yellow. It's very transparent. It's a yellow that I like very much. It's a light Hansa Yellow. Then you have single pigment, the PY14, which is this Fugitive Yellow that they use everywhere. It's a very nice, very lovely color. It's warm, it's mid yellow, very transparent, but it's Fugitive. And I don't know any other brand that uses this pigment, but here you find it. It's a lovely color, but it's just not light fast. Then you have yellow orange. I love yellows and oranges. They are among my favorite colors. I buy them in open stock. I have many. And the deep yellows, the orange yellows, are among my favorite ones. And this is made with the PY83 and PY14. This yellow orange. PY14, it's always the same yellow, and be aware that it is used mainly in inks, never in watercolor. Then we have a combination of these two Fugitive colors in what they call orange, and it is PO13 plus the Fugitive Yellow, and there is a nice color separation. I don't see much difference from this one, but it's a nice orange, but be aware that it is made with pigments that are mainly used in inks. Then Vermilion, which is the pure form of this PO13. That's a bit weak. Maybe it's not enough. It's a bit artificial orange. I've seen, it's an orange. It's a bit artificial. Looks more like an ink than a watercolor. And then we have Scarlet. And Scarlet is made with always with the same orange, PO13, plus a red, PR112. So it's a darker version of this Vermilion, and it is a lovely warm red, very transparent. Let's go to the colder reds. First one is Permanent Red, which is a bit strange to call it permanent because it's made with two reds, and the second one, PR170, have naphthol red. And these two reds are mostly used in cosmetics or inks because they're so fugitive. And naphthol reds are very rarely a choice for watercolor, but the color is very pretty. Then we have Rose Madder, and they all have the same problem. They are made with colors that are fugitive. This one, PR57, is also used for cosmetics and inks, plus PY23. It's a yellow that you can hardly find on internet. That's a bit unknown. Then you have Crimson Lake, always with PR170, like the Permanent Red. Same problem. It's a red that it is used mostly in cosmetics, plastics, not in watercolor because it's fugitive. And I find it also a bit artificial. PR57-1, also a color that I made my researches on internet. It's mostly used in toys or lipsticks or inks, in industry, and less in watercolor. It's a lovely rose, however, very, very vibrant. Then we have two colder pink. This is called cold pink, it's like a magenta. It's PR81. And then with the same pigment, which is a fugitive, once again, pigment that's called rhodamine, but we know that opera rose is often fugitive. We have opera rose, a very nice opera rose. I would like to mix this with some other colors to see what I get. Now we let these dry and then we come back for some considerations. Welcome back. Now the swatches are dry and we can start with some considerations. First of all, I'll start from the good part. The colors are very vibrant. There is a very nice collection of colors. It's also quite complete. There are many greens, there are many muted greens. The earth tones are many, but the blues could be maybe more than just 4. And the colors are absolutely very, very vibrant. But why am I not finding myself using this watercolor set? After all, it's a large set with many colors. Colors are vibrant. Why am I not using them as much as I could? My first concern is that, yes, colors are vibrant, but there are lots and lots of convenience colors, and there are very few single pigments. I like to mix my colors myself. I love muted greens, but I like to start from a Viridian or a Sap Green and mute it by myself. So I can use a limited palette with very few pigments and achieve a more organic, natural look. Also, these browns are very much the same, and they look a bit artificial and dull to me. They don't, they're kind of flat, they are very reddish. And the same with these muted greens. They're very much the same. They're different values almost of the same green. I don't care for the metallics, and I don't like colors that have except for some notable exception like maple yellows. I don't like very much colors with white in it, like this French gray. The black is not the black that I would use, ivory black. I prefer a neutral tint. I also don't like the idea that they use the wrong names. So if you are, this is definitely a student grade, but I think that they should use the correct name, because if you're starting with watercolor, you need to get familiar with pigments and colors. So when they say this is cobalt, it's not a cobalt, it's just not a cobalt. This is non-educational for someone that is learning watercolor. Other than that, I think that how can you use this set? Of course, you can use it as a gift to a teen, because it has a feeling almost of a very beautiful children paint. I have this feeling when I use this. I use it for doodling. For doodling is perfect because you have many colors, and these colors are a lot of fun. I will show you a doodle that I have done, for instance, with this set. This is a little watercolor sketch that I sketched yesterday because I knew I was going to review this watercolor set today. I think that for these doodles, this paint is perfect because it's very vibrant. It doesn't have a great flow on paper, but it's not important when your sketches are so small, and you have an incredible choice of greens, so it was perfect for this vegetable garden. So if you just want to doodle in a sketchbook, you don't want to hang your sketch or you don't want to sell it, this is a nice, fun set. Just be aware that you cannot really mix colors too much because there are very few single pigments and the risk of getting a muddy result is high. And you have a wide choice of fun colors, vibrant colors. So for doodling like this, for a illustrated journal, I think it's perfect. It has a good price point. And if you're starting in watercolor, it could be an option, but don't limit yourself to this type of student grade paint, because I think that it's worth using more professional paint, and nowadays you can find professional paint at a very good price, and also some student paint are of a higher quality compared to this, like Paul Rubens, for instance, has a student grade set that is really lovely. But if you're thinking that you're curious to buy it, go forth. It's a fun set. You're going to have fun, and it could be a nice first set if you're curious about watercolor. It's easy. You don't have to mix your own colors. You find them pre-mixed, and it can be a step forward, an art journey in your life. That's all for the moment. So thanks for having watched this video with me. I hope you appreciated this review, and don't hesitate to comment your experience, to put your experience in the comment if you have any with this set. And if you have like this, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next videos. So for the moment, one big ciao from Italy, and I see you in my next video. Bye!